there's usually a missing vowel in the name Yehováh to make it unpronounceable. I want to show you something from another manuscript. Again, I'm not going to say which manuscript. It's a bit complicated. But here we have an instance where if you look in the bottom right, you see below the word, you see some dots and you see a dash in the second and third letter from the right. And the parchment around them looks kind of weird. Mm-hmm. And the reason it looks weird is someone took a razor, scratched the vowels off from below those two letters, and put in two different vowels. And up until I went to examine this manuscript, there was a debate between the two top scholars in the world who are Hebrew linguists. And the debate was about whether this was a correction by a second scribe or whether the parchment was damaged during preparation when it was made. And this is a photograph through a microscope, the 50x microscope that I have. And there's no question that this was a correction. Someone scratched off the two letters, the two vowels, and replaced it with two different vowels. Why did they do that? Because the original vowels written by the original scribe were contrary to what people thought were the rules of Hebrew grammar. Now let's put this in perspective. When we talk about the rules of English grammar, we open up our English grammar and it tells us what the rules are. So the grammar we use today for English is proscriptive. It's a prescription. This is what you should use. Prescriptive. It's a prescription. This is what you should use. But the grammars of ancient languages are descriptive. They don't tell you what it's supposed to be. They tell you what we find de facto in the manuscripts, in the sources, in the texts. And so the grammars that had been written had a rule that you can't, those two dots at the bottom that are one on top of the other, it's called a shva. The rule was you can't have three shvas in a row. And lo and behold, in this manuscript, in another place, there were three shvas in a row. And the debate was about this place. Were there originally three shvas in a row? Or that's just some damage to the manuscript. It's not a correction. And there's two shvas in a row, and they're broken up by what's called a patach, that little line. And examining under the microscope, I was able to put that debate to rest. It is now definitive. I'm going to zoom in here and show you. You can see as clear as day, once you understand what you're looking at, that originally there were three of these shvas in a row, and one of them was scratched off and replaced with that line, which is the patach. So this is really important. People will say, well, the rules of Hebrew grammar. What are those rules based on? They're based on manuscripts. What if those manuscripts have been changed? We can actually now go and examine manuscripts and determine if they were changed and how. So the big question I had going to St. Petersburg, Russia, was as follows. I wanted to know, when the hallan was put there, there's usually a missing vowel in the name Yehováh to make it unpronounceable, but in about 50 places the hallan was put there. Was that done by a later scribe?